and he didn't have the skills to be able to control the golf ball and alter the flight of the golf ball for the golf courses that he was playing up. He'd stepped up to. And he said that, he played with an unknown South African who happened to be Louis Oosthuizen. And he said that, in the first round of this professional event, Oosthuizen beat him by 12 shots. And he said Oosthuizen made the game look easy, but it wasn't spectacular. And he came away from that thinking, and this was his word. He says, "Fuck me, I'm lost here." And that had such a big effect on him.
Mm.
But it's very interesting at that moment he soon realised that he was almost like he was out of his depth there. And
yeah, it's quite interesting. I never looked at people and thought that you're out your depth. There was always players that surprised you, like, God, how did he do that? Or how did he shoot that score? Or how, but everybody finds a way, don't they? Like a guy called Christian Savard, French player, used to hit 30 yards shorter than everybody else. Went to Stanford University in the States, really, really clever guy, a really, really nice bloke. His agent was Dino. He used to beat us. We used to beat them in amateur golf. He was terrible. But he found a way, and he putted really well to get it done. But I always, to go back to that tournament in Lyon, funnily enough, I'm playing the last round, and the weather's horrific. We're standing the first tee, and I've got my trolley. I'm not able to carry it. You could have a trolley back then. I've got the trolley up, and I'm playing with Ricky Willison, who was played the Walker Cup 2 years previous to me, and I played a bit with him in amateur golf. It was a really good player. And I'm playing with Gordon Brand Jr., who I'd met because Bob used to teach Gordon, and I had never played with him. And there was only two people that Bob ever said to me, because I used to speak to Bob regularly when I was away. There was only two people that he ever said to me, watch what they do. One was Gordon, and the other one was Steve Elkington when I played with him at the Dunhill in St Andrews. That's the only two people. And I played with some relatively big names, and I was only twice to say it.
And why? What was
Brand Junior, Brandy. I stood up. I remember I was second off. Ricky teed off. I was second off, and I had a great drive. Miserable, it was pouring down. And then Gordon hit up a really good drive. And then Ricky had his second shot. I had a 3-wood second shot. It's probably as good as I could ever hit at that time. Comes up 10-yard shot at the green, it's a par 4. And I'm walking, trying to please myself. Gordon's a little bit ahead of me. And he just gets this 1 iron out, Mizuno 1 iron, and just hits this thing. Just doesn't leave the flag. Goes down to about 5 feet, and I'm like, okay, I can't do that, so I'm going to do I'm going to watch this. And he was just I was read a couple at a time, but so good, so professional. And I probably learned more in that round of golf playing with him than I would have done hitting balls on the range for 6 months. I think that's what you try and drum into these kids now. Going, I keep saying to some of these boys, the Nike guys that we support, I said, if you're going to go and turn pro, I said, what are you going to do? What's different that you're going to do? You get to a pro tournament. There's a couple of them got invites to pro tournaments, and I've said, what will I do? How do I go about getting a practice round? I said, right, I'll tell you what you do. You look at the last 2 years worth of scores. You go and find out who's finished top 10 twice, and you go and find them for a practice round. That's what you do. I say, because he knows that course, whoever it is doing something right, you go and source him and try and get a practice round with them. If there's 2 or 3 people like that, you try and, because to me, it's horses for courses and a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? And you can pick up so many little bits. Stuff like, I remember playing with Mark McNulty in a practice round at the Belfry. And it was a Tuesday night, and we teed off about, I think I might have teed off at like 5 or something, for some reason. And he caught me up, and we played all the way around, maybe the last sort of 14 holes. And I'm like, God, this is perfect. You know, it's like 6:30 on a Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Tuesday night, nobody on the course. He said, what do you mean? He said, you've never done this before? And I'm like, no. I said, I always play sort of practice rounds, 9:30, 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. He's like, why do you do that? Why did you go and play when everybody else is playing? He said, why not either do it 6:30 on a Tuesday morning, or come out at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon and do it? You get the whole place to yourself. You can rattle around in 3 hours. He said it takes you 3 hours to play 11 holes on a Tuesday morning at 10. And he was right. You got bored, you know, you were just standing waiting, everybody's hitting balls, and there's patting and chipping going out, and the lack of structure in some people's practice rounds, playing at that time, was amazing.
Wow.
And it's stuff like that. You can't, you know, unless these kids have got somebody like me telling them stuff like that. It could take you a while to cotton on to something like that. That was a pure bit of luck.
Absolutely.
I was playing late that day, and he joined me, and we got talking, and that sort of thing came out. You know, he'd been around for years.
Yeah.
It's interesting how you just pick up little, again, it's the one mouth, 2 ears thing, isn't it? You pick up little things like that, and it can make a difference.
And did you feel that early phase of your career and the experience that you had and the learning that you had, you know, good experiences, tough experiences, but the learning you had, do you think that was vital for your career development, Raymond? It was almost like a quick apprenticeship.
Yeah, I think it was. I think it definitely helped me be unafraid. I wasn't really frightened of sort of any situation. You know, I always sort of tried to, you know, people used to say, you play aggressive. And I'm like, well, the way I looked at it was, well, yeah, I may make a mistake playing aggressive, but I'm going to get a lot of chances by playing aggressive, and hopefully I can convert these chances. You know, I know a lot of people that, you know, I remember playing a practice round. I still to this day I've never got my head around this. There's a guy called Terry Price, Australian player. Terry, lovely bloke. But he said, I never got a flag at a par 3. I'm like, what? He said, I never got a flag at a par 3. He said, always go middle of the green, I make a 3, and if I make a 3, I'm gaining on the tournament. The 4 3s on my scorecard. And I'm like, yeah, but no, I couldn't, no, couldn't do that. You know what I mean? I just couldn't. And it's like, it's circumstances like that type of attitude was like, if I finish 20th, that's alright type thing, you know what I mean? And if I finish 50th in the order of merit, that's okay, you know, I've earned a few quid. And that was one of the reasons that, you know, I stopped playing, because of that. But also, to use a different sort of slant on it, I had a conversation with David Drysdale a couple of years ago. And it was at the Open, I was chatting to him on the range and stuff. And I was like, oh, Vicky's caddying